Jim asked me to make a few remarks this morning to kind of set the stage for what we're going to talk about and what the panelists will talk about today. And I think in order to set the stage, we need to think a little bit about what goes on here in Washington other than just politics. And you know, we've got a beautiful day today, and it's a typical fall day in Washington. For most of us who live or work or visit Washington, fall is one of the best times of the year to be in Washington. But for those who worked in the city in the early last decade, it meant something else. In 2003, it meant living through a storm when Hurricane Isabel roared up the coast. In 2002, it meant living through a murderous rampage when 2 snipers paralyzed the region. And of course, in 2001, it meant living through a terrorist attack that claimed the lives of over 3,000 people. We'll always remember the fear and uncertainty that gripped the city and the nation in those days after 9/11. It was a fear that was made worse by the Anthrax deaths that occurred the weeks following. It was a season that we'll never forget, and it was a season that changed America forever. President Bush spoke about these changes in a speech to Congress September 20th, 2001, 9 years ago this very night. Our nation has been put on notice, he stated. We are not immune from attack. We will take defensive measures against terrorism to protect Americans. Clearly, a lot has changed since that time, but one thing has not changed. America still faces a grave threat, and we are not immune from attack. The purpose of today's public policy meeting is to look at the situation 9 years later and examine some of the defensive measures the President talked about and what has been put in place to keep us safe. To help us take an in-depth look, we're fortunate to have 3 individuals with us today whose names have become synonymous with keeping America secure. Congressman Charlie Dent from Pennsylvania is serving his 3rd term in the U.S. House of Representatives. Since taking office, he has earned a reputation as one of the leading experts in Congress on Homeland Security issues. The author of a tough new chemical security bill that was passed earlier this year, he serves as the ranking Republican on the Transportation and Infrastructure Security Subcommittee. Fran Townsend is probably familiar to many of you for her appearances on CNN as their leading authority on counterterrorism and homeland security. She brings years of experience to that job as she started her career under Rudy Giuliani in the United States Attorney's Office in New York and worked her way to become the Assistant to the President for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism in the Bush administration. She also chaired the Homeland Security Council. In addition to her duties at CNN, she is also currently a partner at the prestigious international law firm of Baker Botts. And last but not least, Tom Ridge. Long before he rose to prominence in the days and months after 9/11, Tom served his country as did Congressman Dent, and he started his career as a college graduate going to Vietnam. Graduated from Harvard, went to Vietnam, served in the infantry as a sergeant, and won the Bronze Star. When he returned home, he obtained his law degree and became the first, or one of the first, Vietnam combat veterans elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. He was elected governor of Pennsylvania in 1994 and served in that role until 2001, in which, in his speech to Congress, President Bush tapped him to become the nation's first director and later Secretary of Homeland Security. He was in that chamber that night 9 years ago, and we're looking forward to his joining us today. But to get us started in this program, I'll ask Congressman Charlie Dent.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, everybody, for RiponSociety for allowing me to join you today. So, speaking of the governor, there he is. And delighted that the governor's here. And just wanted to say a couple things about that. First, it's a pleasure to be here, along with Fran Towson will be here shortly, and Governor Tom Ridge. I knew Governor Tom Ridge when he was a congressman that no one had ever heard of, from a place that no one had ever been to. I don't know if you've heard that. He knows what I'm talking about. Right, Governor, you were a congressman.
You got that right, Congressman. You got everything right.
You were the congressman that no one had ever heard of, from a place that no one had ever been to. And if the truth be told, there were some people in southeastern Pennsylvania who thought Erie was in New York or Canada. And so I was proud to call him an early supporter of Tom Ridge. He's been a very good mentor to me. I also want to say, too, about Fran Towson. She's been a very good mentor to my Homeland Security Advisor, assistant to Joe Valensis, who's here someplace, who's worked with her very closely over the years. So I just want to say that about the governor. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the difficulty we have in securing America and its transportation systems. You know, a little over a week ago, I watched, as probably all of you did too, all those commentators repeatedly asked all these subject matter experts if we as Americans were safer since 9/11. Most everyone agreed that yes, we were safer, but we're not safe. We have invested hundreds of billions of dollars to improve our once lax security systems, and we are in fact safe. Now, are we safe? Safe from all terrorist threats? And that answer is absolutely not. The threat we face is ever changing, it's evolving, and until recently we used 1980s technology with cheap X-ray machines and magnetometers to secure our airports. However, 19 men with box cutters still managed to take down 4 jetliners and kill thousands. Weeks later, another man tried to use his shoe as a bomb. You know, and who would have ever envisioned that or seen that coming? So we invested billions in newer advanced screening technologies. These technologies are so advanced that they can detect even the smallest amounts of explosives. We changed our procedures to prevent most sharp objects from carrying on luggage. At one point, we even prohibited all nail clippers and even your grandmother's sewing heel. We took off our shoes, and yet the terrorists have still adapted. Then, in August 2006, we disrupted a plot to take down multiple aircraft using liquid explosives that would have evaded existing screening technologies and our enhanced screening procedures at that time. As a result, we prohibited liquids on airplanes and began looking at advanced imaging technologies that could see anomalies beneath the passenger's clothing. On Christmas Day, the son of an influential Nigerian official attempted to down an airplane using an explosive concealed in his underwear, Mr. Abdul. In response, the administration asked for about $433 million in equipment and personnel costs to expedite the delivery of 500 new advanced imaging technology machines, AIT machines. Congress appears poised to fund that request. And these AIT deployments are something that I strongly support, but I think we all have to recognize they're not a silver bullet. And aside from better technology, we're asking more and more of our professional transportation security officers, TSOs. I know the public perception of TSA at times has been negative. But as I continue to work with TSA leadership and meet the TSOs in the field all across the country, I can tell you that those perceptions are often the result of a few bad apples that have spoiled the proverbial bunch. Today's TSOs are far more professional and better trained than the private security contractors that have preceded them prior to 9/11. And today's TSOs are no longer looking at the two-dimensional black and white photo of your carry-on baggage. They're examining a three-dimensional color image, manipulating it as necessary to find the proverbial needle in the haystack. They're no longer looking at the red light, green light with a magnetometer. And now they're interpreting and manipulating an image with such great detail that they can find a tube of chapstick in a passenger's pocket. In the years to come, we will continue to ask more of this workforce. And so we all have to be mindful of ensuring that we don't overburden them with their training requirements. And while we have continued to make significant investments in our aviation security, I'm often asked why we don't invest equally in our surface transportation security. And compared to the $5.2 billion that we spent in fiscal year 2010 on aviation security, that $110 million we spent on surface transportation security seems really paltry by comparison. Unfortunately, as difficult as it is to secure our aviation environment, securing our surface transportation systems, our railways, our ferries, and our mass transit and metro systems are infinitely more so. No matter how secure we make Anthrax stations, there are thousands upon thousands of miles of rail lines that remain vulnerable. No matter how secure we make our metro stations here in Washington, D.C., we cannot stop and search nearly 800,000 passengers that ride on that metro every single day. These open transportation systems are some of our most significant security challenges. That's something I think we all agree on. The very nature of these systems make fully securing them counterproductive to their purpose and undermines the efficacy of them.